Okay. And I'm recording now.
And now I'm recording. So the fact that you were recording doesn't seem so cool anymore, does it?
Yeah, that was kind of my thing, and you just stole it.
And the thing is, I didn't just steal it. I do it better than you ever did.
Oh my god, that's the worst.
Yeah. All right. Hey, welcome to Sam and John's Book Club. Wait, I'm gonna bring my microphone a little bit closer here. Do. Hey, well, no, now it's in
now it's in the shot. Ah, jeez.
Now it's just a little bit in the shot. Like maybe it's a microphone, maybe it's a black moon.
Ooh, I like that on a white backdrop.
Sam and John's Book Club. As I was saying, I'm Sam.
I'm John.
And we're reading Words of Radiance. The one, the only, the Brandon Sanderson, who's a very good writing man who writes lots of good words that I enjoy reading.
Brando Sando, praise be unto him.
Yep. We are just at the start of part 2, including all the interludes. Before that, if you haven't read the book, you might wanna, because it's not like we're spoiling it. You know, here's what I'm saying, is read up to where we just read up to, right? Mm-hmm. Which was 4 chapters into part 2.
Just real quick.
And then listen to this, and then you can keep reading afterwards, okay?
Yeah, yep.
Alright, let's just get going with these freaking interludes, huh? Because...
yeah. The first one.
Some of these really I have a lot of notes on, and some of them I have... Because for parts of this, I was baking a pie as I was listening.
Okay.
Which, by the way, I delivered it. No, we can talk about that on our other podcast.
Yeah, right.
Which isn't about books. And we'll just do books in this one, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
All right. So I don't have that many notes for a couple of these interludes in the middle, but for the first and last one, I think I was pretty thorough. Mm-hmm. Okay, so here we are from, I think, a new perspective. Have we done this perspective before?
Yeah, this is new.
Eshonai is how I think it's pronounced.
Yeah, Eshonai. That's how I.
And she's a Parshendi. Which is kind of new. So far, it's been very us versus them, just the way it's all written, right? Mm-hmm. And now actually getting to kind of see through their eyes. Well, I mean, I sure do have a lot of notes, so I guess it was kind of maybe a smidgen enlightening.
She's the only shard bearer that the Parshendi have.
Yep, I think the way they were talking about it, the way the Alethi were talking about it, they thought they had more than one, right?
Oh yeah, they've just only seen this one.
I think they said that I think there was some line way back in the first book that made us think that they definitely didn't have shard blades before meeting the Alethi, right? Wasn't there a line about that? How the Parshendi definitely did not have shards before they met the Alethi?
That sounds familiar, yeah.
I think that was a thing we talked about. And, well, it turns out that now sounds wrong, right?
Right.
They surely had these shards all along, and it sounds like they used to have more, and now they're down to just one left, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so Eshonai is walking along. They all communicate in this kind of sing-songy way by channeling different rhythms.
Yeah.
So there's the rhythm of peace, and the rhythm of resolve was one that she used right away. Lots of them nowadays are using the rhythm of depression or something. I don't remember exactly what it was. Mourning. The rhythm of mourning.
Yeah,
yeah, because, I mean, wow. Turns out the Parshendi are just not doing so hot.
Right,
you know?
They're in a war of attrition, like, by definition.
They're in a war of attrition. They know that they're losing. And, yeah, the people are just getting sad. She's talking about the central plateau, the one, the tower, right? Where the fight happened, the climax of book 1.
Yeah.
And she calls it Narak, exile, home. And then she goes on to describe some pretty wild stuff, right?
Yeah.
Namely that, I guess, the Shattered Plains is all buildings?
Yeah, they're like ruins of ruins, and they're like kind of like sort of weathered into the plains themselves, like part of the landscape.
What I mean, the way she was talking about it, it sounded like the plateaus themselves are buildings that have been caked in creme, which has hardened, making them look like natural structures, and that makes sense. The chasms between them, dude, those are just roads, right? Or whatever.
Okay, I didn't think that she meant the whole thing. I thought she meant on top of it, and that it's still. So is the whole of the Shattered Plains your theory then, perhaps?
Could be. Although, Yesna sounded pretty confident that it was not.
Right.
In previous readings. Yeah, so I mean that makes sense, kind of, for the plateaus all being different sizes, different heights. You know,
Yeah.
some of them are slanted a little bit. The tower's at a big slant because
Right.
I don't know, maybe it's kind of like the Sydney Opera House or something of this
Yeah.
ancient, long dead city.
Right.
Yeah. Eshonai really wants to speak with Dalinar to hash out a truce.
Right. Parley
But
for peace.
it seems like she's getting kind of betrayed and a little bit manipulated by her own sister.
Yeah, kinda. In a weird
That
way.
was like kind of the vibe I was getting. What's her sister's name?
Venli, I think.
Venli was like researching. She's the one in charge of researching new forms for these guys to take. There's like so much to. So we need to talk about a lot.
Yeah, so many things. Yeah.
And she was supposed like Eshonai wanted Venli to be researching forms they could use to mediate discussions, diplomats, artists, you know, all of this stuff. And here Venli was over here telling Eshonai that this is what she'd been doing all along, when actually she was trying to discover one of the forms of power.
Of ancient power, yeah. The storm form is what she comes up with.
Storm form, which can be used to harness the storm and wreak havoc and destruction.
Right. Even control one, yeah.
And then when Eshonai kind of like confronts her about it, like, is this what you were doing? Like, Venli is all like, you didn't trust me, and she channels the rhythm of betrayal. And Eshonai's like, oh, jeez, I'm sorry. And it just seems like Venli's being kind of manipulative and whatnot, and dishonest and all this. I don't know.
Right.
But I guess before we should just let's talk briefly about what forms even are.
Right, yeah. So they have only 4 at the moment, but you know the songs of the past tell them there are like hundreds, and so technically I guess there are 5, but the 4 they use are Dole form, Work form, War form, and Nimble form. And Nimble form was like just discovered. Which one?
Forgot mate form, John.
And mate form, yeah, and then
sexy form.
Right, hot tamale form.
Hot. Oh, that's a curse word. Never mind. And then there's also slave form.
Right, which is what the parchment are.
That's the parchment, yeah. And dole. It sounds like dole form looks the same as slave form. And there was a line about, you know, she saw those Parshendi in dole form, and she was like, "Are you going off to be more spies?"
Right, yeah.
And of course, based on Navani's journal entries from part 1, you know.
Yep.
She was talking about they already had spies among us, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's safe to say that some of the Parshmen right now in the Alethi war camps are actually Parshendi in Dole form.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And
but
maybe
they say
Shen among them? Who knows?
Ooh.
I don't know.
But they're like, nope, we're just, when, you know, the Alethi come and ransack this whole place, they'll kill us last at least, or they might not even bother, because we look like Parshmen, and they're like, whoa, geez, alright.
Yeah.
Like, are we that desperate at this point?
And this explains, in the past, you know, I think we were talking about how, like, well, some of the Parshendi have, like, armor, like, growing right out of their bodies, right? So how are they the same race as these Parshmen, right?
Yeah.
And well, it turns out they don't actually have armor growing out of their bodies unless they're in war form. And the other ones, they have different physical attributes based on which form they take, and they can switch forms, it sounds like, with every high storm if they go out into the storm and they sing the right songs, or they bring an imprisoned Spren, and I guess you can trap Spren in gemstones.
Right, yeah. There's so many things.
Lots of stuff. Okay, well, I mean, what else do we have here? Eshonai had been there for the very first meeting with the humans, because Eshonai has always been kind of an explorer-y sort, you know?
Yep. That was kind of her dream before all this stuff went down.
Yeah, and she was also a part of the decision to kill Gavilar.
Yeah, she was
Holy
like,
moly.
All of the elders that did that are like long dead now, but she was, you know, they sought kind of her opinion, I guess. Mm-hmm. She was down for it. And so they had to do that because they had to stop their gods from returning, which Gavilar was bringing about based on something that he told the elders at the party thing that he died at.
Yep, and it
Whoa.
Is this... They must have some prophecy. We're going to learn about one of their songs or something.
Yeah.
Right? That tells us why this is. Because I really doubt it's because the Alethi were being united. I think they probably don't care about that. This is probably something else Gavilar
You're right.
was doing. Because, I mean, Gavilar right now is very mysterious. Like, there's a lot of, you know, mystery around him. So
right.
He must have talked with these folks about something that probably like Yesna doesn't even know, right?
Sure.
Because it's not like everyone is like, why we didn't need the treaty. The Alethi didn't need the treaty, right?
Right. Yeah.
But Gavilar was going through all these changes. He was reading the Way of Kings. He was maybe having the same visions that Dalinar had. So maybe he had some like big plans going on that were like totally secret. He was having that secret conversation with Amaram that we don't know what happened. Yeah. So maybe Amaram knows. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all kind of wild. So either way, they like fully recognize the fact that their people were gonna get totally like hunted down, and that this war would happen if they had Gavilar killed. But because of something he said to their elders, they had to do this because if Gavilar succeeded, their gods would return, which is apparently bad.
Right, yeah. That would, like, wreak havoc somehow. Are their gods the Voidbringers? Does that make any sense? Who knows?
I don't know. Are their gods somehow Odium?
Sure.
I don't know.
Sure.
Maybe Odium. Because that's like, you wouldn't want him to return, but you... Because gods either are gods through love or fear, right?
Sure, yeah.
It sounds like their gods are of the fear variety.
Right.
So, I don't know. Also, they recognize that Kaladin is a Surge Binder, based on the Parshendi use the term Surge Binder, to describe Kaladin.
The same across languages or whatever.
Yeah, so somewhere in their collective memory, they've seen this before,
Right. And they talk about like honor blades. I didn't really get that part.
The honor blades, those are the 10 blades that the
Oh, that's right.
Heralds had. Whoa, it took me a long time to remember the word Heralds.
Yep.
Okay, and yeah, they freaking talk about the honor blades. Wait, where is that now?
I have that pretty close to the end.
I actually kind of lost that one somewhere in there, but I think I remember what it was about.
Yeah.
They were talking about how... Didn't they say how... Kaladin was a Surge Binder, and they were like, well, maybe he's not a Surge Binder. Maybe it was just an Honor Blade. It was like something like that was what they were saying.
Yeah, something like that.
So does this mean that if you own an Honor Blade, you can do Surge Binding even without having this whole like Radiant thing going on?
Maybe.
Because, alright, so the Spren binds with the person and grants them the Surge Binding, right?
Correct.
So is this saying that you could have an Honor Blade instead of a Spren, and that would like fulfill the same sort of deal? Is that what it's getting at?
Makes sense to me. I was lost.
It sounded like at one point they had some line about how they left an Honor Blade behind or something like that. Didn't they say something like that?
That I don't remember.
I could have sworn. Man, I kind of wish I had this pulled up now.
I can go look. Well, you talk.
It just reminded me. It just reminded me of back in the prologue of this book. We were back at Gavilar's murder from Yesna's perspective, right?
Yep.
And she heard those two people walking through the hall having that conversation about how, that monster has our Lord's own blade or something like that, right?
Oh yeah.
And then there was some line in here that it made it sound like now they're saying an honor blade was at the feast, right?
Sure.
I think. Okay.
Yeah.
And it made me
These
wonder.
Connections make sense.
And earlier in the past once, I commented on how Szeth, we've never heard anything about his Spren.
Right. Oh, sure.
So it's kind of all coming together a little bit. Maybe Szeth is holding one of the honor blades.
Right. And that's why he's able to do things.
The thing is, this is something I legitimately do not remember if this is true. So I don't want you to feel like...
I didn't think... Yeah, this seemed organic to me, so...
But this is my running theory, is that Szeth is holding an honor blade, he doesn't have a Spren, and if he somehow lost the blade, he would also lose his Surge Binding powers.
I believe that, yeah.
That's kind of what I'm going with.
All right. I like it.
So they've discovered Storm Form, and there's a quote about how if with enough of them in Storm Form, they could control a High Storm or even summon one, which sounds pretty whack.
Insane, yeah.
Pretty potentially mega destructive because, as we know, humans don't do so good in high storms.
Nope.
So if they could just conjure one up, like on a battlefield,
yeah,
when it's totally unexpected, that could like decimate people.
That'd be a big yikes, yeah.
All right, that's pretty much all I got for that one.
Yep, same.
Onwards to the next interlude.
Eam.
Yeah, Yim.
I said Eam for some reason.
I think it's probably Eam.
Yeah. How did Sir Cranes say it?
I think it was like Yem.
Oh, okay.
I wrote it down IEM until I saw the spelling.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
In the Audible app later.
Right. Yeah. No, I just spelled it, or I just pronounced it in my mind as Eam.
Mm-hmm. I would have pronounced it Eam if I had read it.
Anyway, Eam, he's a cobbler. He's a very dedicated, charitable cobbler. And not a peach cobbler, but a shoemaker.
Indeed. Not a delicious dessert, but a man who puts shoes on feet.
And he makes shoes in exchange for people's stories.
Yep. And this whole chapter, a little bit, the way he keeps talking about how, we were once all one with shared knowledge, but no experience, and now we've split into many individuals who can all go gain experience, so one day we can reform, you know?
And
this is like his philosophy for how all of humans work.
Yeah.
And this reminded me of that short story, The Egg.
Yeah.
Right?
It makes me
wonder, did Brandon Sanderson, has he read that? Did he read that before writing this?
Right, yeah. That's an interesting question, yeah.
Was there some of that going on there? By the way, if you're not familiar with The Egg, you can read it yourself, or you can watch the Kurzgesagt. You know that YouTube channel?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, no, I just forgot they made a video on it, but I have seen it.
They did a video, which is just a person reading that story with a whole bunch of pictures, pretty pictures. So yeah, go check that out.
Yeah, very cool story.
In addition to being a shoe man, Eam is also a surge binder.
Right. Yes, he can heal people with Stormlight.
Yep, he has the power to heal, and presumably one other power also. He's got a friendly Spren who is kind of stupid, kind of at about the same stage Pattern is at right now, you know?
Yeah.
Like, a tiny bit of comprehension, but just not a ton.
And it's clear that Eam kind of like knows what he's doing, but only barely.
Eam says that he's used this power to heal like half a dozen times now or something.
Right.
He uses it on a little street urchin. Eam is really just the best dude.
Who just had the most like chimney sweep voice as I was reading it.
Oi, governor.
Yeah, exactly.
Oi, didn't it? Oi, isn't it, mate? Hey.
Yeah, I'm just a bit of a chimney sweep, just trying to get me a scrap of bread on the streets here.
Pip pip cheerio, it's a tough life out there.
A hard knock life, you might say.
You're strange, old man. Bloody hard, ain't ya?
Yeah, kind of a stupid theory.
Hey, old man, oi, I hate your stinking guts. Hey, thanks for the shoes, idiot. Alright. And then I guess I don't have too many more notes kind of until he gets murdered. Oh, spoilers.
A spooky shadow man with a crescent tattoo on his cheek knows that he murdered someone with poison by accident. He has a shard blade. He stabs him with it. Uh-oh.
Yep. So this man wearing a military uniform, pale crescent on his cheek, and John, I don't know if you remember this, but I sure do. Back in the prologue, Yes Snow overheard those two people walking through the hallway, and one of them had a crescent on their cheek, the taller one.
We filed this away on purpose.
We did. We said, let's remember that. And whoa, here he is.
What do you know? Murdering a dude that was also a murderer 40 years ago, or murdered somebody 40 years ago, and justice has no expiration date, or whatever he says.
Yep, straight up killed him. He says, I had to look very hard to find your indiscretion.
Yeah.
So that's not normally how justice does it.
No.
Normally, the indiscretion is clear, and then you work very hard to find who done it.
Right.
This guy's doing it the other way around. He picked a person, and then he looked very, very hard for some crime in his past, so that he would have like an excuse to kill him, I guess.
Right. This guy, he's like innocent until proven guilty, but I'm looking at everybody.
Yeah, I see just going through everyone in the world systematically.
Right, yeah.
Pick a person, or maybe he is targeting surge binders. Because that seems a little more likely than systematically working through every person.
Yeah, well, when he's about to get stabbed, his Spren is like, use the light, and he grabs an orb, but he drops it, and then he gets stabbed through the chest.
Yeah, gets straight murdered.
Yep.
Very sad. In the brief time we had Eam, I thought of him as my own grandfather.
Right. He was like a father to me.
And then the next one,
Yep.
hey, it's Risen again. Howdy, Risen. How you doing, girl? Hey, been a while.
She's taking care of a plant. She doesn't really like it. Plant's name's Solon.
Yep. And her master is not doing so hot. He's gonna die for sure. He's very sick.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now this is the same trader girl.
Yep.
Not she didn't betray anybody. Not
right. Tradesman.
Tradeswoman.
Woman.
John.
My goodness.
And she's going off into Reshi lands, which are like a bunch of islands on the backs of turtles, which is kind of hype. Pretty cool.
Yeah, they're big old moving islands. It's a Torterra situation.
And honestly, I am just getting a distinct vibe that like the stuff that's going on with this character isn't really important. You know?
Yeah.
Like I'm sure eventually she's gonna come in hot and be like. Eventually she'll be like an actor in the story, and it'll be cool.
Yeah. No, a lot of her stuff hasn't really applied. But I mean that's kind of true of some other people we've had. In the interludes, not as much though.
Yeah.
Like there was the guy in the Pure Lake, and he saw Hoyd and Hoyd's buddies, or whoever was looking for Hoyd. You know.
Yeah. He didn't see Hoyd, but he saw the people looking for Hoyd.
Right. Yeah, I think there were Ghost Bloods, and then there was what's his name? The guy that can change, faces.
Axel or something.
Yeah.
Axiom.
Axes.
Axes. That's it.
Yep. Who knows what his deal is, but
yeah, I'm betting he's a herald. I don't know. I just feel like it.
Right. Yeah.
Risen, I don't think she's a herald. No. I feel like she is just. I feel like these interludes are, Brandon Santa's just using them to show us different cultures around the world, right?
Like the ones with Esh and I have been the most, tied into the main storyline of any of them.
For sure. Yeah, because I'm sure everything. I'm sure all the information we're getting from Eshna is going to come up soon.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but Risen, I feel like I like Risen. I feel like she's gonna do some cool stuff, and eventually she's gonna show up in the main story, or maybe even we're gonna find out that all the stuff she's doing is way in the past, and now she's old. No, actually, because she interacted with the guy who sold Zeth.
Yep.
So it can't be that far in the past. Oh well.
Yep.
And she's probably going to end up eventually being a Radiant or something, and it's going to be dope.
It's going to be really cool. But for the time being,
for now,
kind of useless. Yeah.
I feel like we're going off and we're getting these fun snippets of various cultures, but it's not going to matter, probably, right?
Yeah. So they go to these floaty islands. There's a trade that's already been arranged, and Bastim, is that how you say his name?
Yeah.
He's all getting sick. He's like, all right, Risen, you're on your own for this trade, all right? And they admire boldness, so keep that in mind.
Yep.
So she goes up.
She takes that to heart so much harder than anyone ever could have imagined.
Right. So she talks to the king, who is in fact a female. And the king's advisor guy who kind of
the trade master.
Yeah. And he he's like, nope, trade's not happening. It's not the guy we traded with. And she tries different tacks, and he's not really going for it. And she's like, I need somebody above the king's authority, the turtle we're all riding on. And she jumps under the ropes, and she's like, hey, turtle man, can we make this trade? And then she falls into the ocean, breaks her legs.
Breaks both her legs. She's back with her master now. It turns out that he was kind of faking the illness a little bit to go make her trade in a controlled environment, because he had once been the guy who trained the trades master she was just dealing with. Whoa, right. Plot twist.
Yeah, and the trade would have gone off without a hitch. This was really just a practice. And she broke her legs for nothing.
Broke her legs for nothing, except I guess the Big Turtle Island did think she was pretty cool because it gave her a Larkin.
A Larkin.
Which does not sound like a Spren.
No.
Well, it said it was like a little flying, one of the crab monsters in this world. I don't know.
Oh, crustacean thingy, you think?
It sounds like a little flying crab to me. I'm pretty sure it's like a flying crab or a flying scorpion, or probably something that you would not be comfortable with seeing in real life, right?
Sure.
You would run from this thing, I think.
Yeah, I just pictured it as a bird, but yeah, I guess all it said was that it flies.
And these are like incredibly rare, and kings will pay massive fortunes just for their corpses.
Right, and that's what the trade was originally for.
Was for like one of these things' corpses, and I guess that like nobody can like decide who these things are bound to except for these island gods themselves, these giant turtles or something.
Yeah, it's not a lot of information, kind of an afterthought almost of the interlude. I'm sure it'll come up.
So either way, she broke both her legs, but she got a flying crab.
Right.
Decent trade.
Yeah, all right.
All right. Next up.
Back to Eshonai.
Eshonai, hey, how's it going? So they have a storm spren, and it's trapped in a little gemstone.
Mm-hmm.
And we learn that they bond with the spren to change forms.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes me wonder, do they have a form for every spren?
Oh.
And maybe. They just have to find the right... Because they said you had to go into the storm with the right attitude, singing the right song and all that, right?
Yeah.
So maybe they, they could just start a fire and, like, trap a fire sprint or whatever. But because they don't know the other parts of entering fire form or whatever it is, they can't do it. So I don't know. That's kind of a little theory. It's a tiny, itty-bitty theory.
Yeah. And I forgot to mention this, but it's mentioned in the first interlude. They kind of have a different relationship with the spren because they, can like see them coming before they get there, kind of like.
Oh yeah, she was
like
the anger spren.
Yeah,
the anger spren. She said she saw them zipping towards her from a long way off, and then they started bubbling up around her feet, right?
Yeah,
Whereas for the humans, we would have skipped straight to bubbling up around the feet. They would not have known the anger spren were coming.
Yeah, it's kind of strange. Like, does that almost dictate what emotion they're about to feel because they know they're coming towards them? It's like
I don't know about that.
Adds some questions. I don't know. It's just different. Is the important bit.
They have to go into a high storm, yada yada. Yada yada.
Or just use the spren trapped in the gemstone, one way or the other.
A fun little note was that they use the rhythms to keep time, right? Because I guess they all have this like hive mind. We've established like you pass one singing a song, and then you'll pass the next one out of earshot singing exactly the same song as if it was one connected thing, right?
Yep.
So yeah, they all, for any given rhythm, they can all conjure that rhythm at the same point in that song in their head, right? So in this case, this meeting started at the third movement of the rhythm of peace, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, that's how they keep. That's the clock for them.
Right. And they were like, I got half a rhythm before I gotta be at that meeting or whatever.
She passes some partiality. We already talked about this. They took Dole form because they've just given up. There was a line, the forms were forced upon us. They gave us power, but they also forced us into obedience or something like that.
Yeah, it was like they were given the forms and they had to obey their gods, and then...
And this to me made the gods that grant the partiality their forms sound very much like patrons for warlocks in D&D.
Oh, yeah, a little bit.
They gave you power, but also require obedience, right?
Right, yeah. And
they have like 100 songs. The partiality have 100 songs that are all like they like contain knowledge and stuff. And it makes me wonder, were these songs like passed down in order to prepare them for the next desolation, to be like the Voidbringers again or whatever?
Yeah.
Or were these songs just like to help them survive?
Yeah. And they've been writing things down. A habit they got from the humans. They were like, oh, that makes sense. I guess we should do that.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny.
Oh, and here it is. It might be one of the honor blades. We left one in Alethkar that night.
Oh, okay.
They were theorizing that Kaladin had come to possess the honor blade they left in Alethkar that night. That's all right. Now it all tied together. There we go.
Yep. Okay, cool. Yeah, Eshonai is talking to another Warform guy about the Storm form, and she said the Spren betray us again. Somebody said that.
Oh, because the Spren were helping humans. Because the Spren were binding with humans.
Yeah, I was just...
So yeah, it seems like they think like by default the Spren are our allies.
Right.
But now the Spren are helping the humans, and in doing so betraying us.
Yeah, she said again. I was like, ooh. Yep, and the guy was like, the gods might be returning anyway. Who knows if that's a sign of it? So,
yeah,
seems like it is. And then they present, the idea to the 5 who are like the leaders of the Parshendi, one in each form, and they're like, we're gonna use this new storm form thingy. How does that sound? Venli says, and they're like, yeah, I guess we can do it. And Eshonai's like, all right, but I'm gonna do it. Because
and
we
they more or less
need you
decide
here
that's
researching
good
stuff.
They more or less decide that's a good compromise.
Venli is pissed about it.
Eshonai plans to take storm form at the next high storm.
Yep.
So,
and Venli's like, you just want the glory for yourself. And she was like, haha, I told you to research other stuff. This is what I'm doing instead. I mean, she didn't really say that, but...
And then Eshonai punched her.
Yeah.
That didn't happen. I lied. Oh, I'm sorry. John, the beginning of chapter little thingies for this part appear to all be stanzas or whatever from the Song of Forms or whatever. I don't remember.
Right, yeah.
So basically what I'm getting at here is I'm going to need you to drop me a beat.
Oh, sure. Okay.
I just realized this isn't going to work because there's a desync between.
Oh, you're right.
So it would just be really bad.
You'd have to match that up.
Maybe I'll just read them instead.
Okay.
War form is worn for battle and rain. No, that's bad.
You're gonna canter this? Like we're in church?
No, I can't even do it. How do you do it in church? How do priests do it? They don't change their tone that much.
Oh yeah. No, I don't really know.
Say, praise be unto God that in His infinite wisdom He might bless us. It's like stuff like that,
that's pretty
right?
much it. Yeah.
Okay.
Just do that.
War form is worn. War form is worn for battle and rain, claimed by the gods, given to kill. Unknown, unseen, but vital to gain, it comes to those with the will. By the way, whenever Kate Redding or Michael Kramer reads these, they do not even attempt to line up the syllables to make it sound like poetry.
Oh, no, why?
They just read it, and I'm like, you could just line it up
the tiniest bit of effort.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the first time I read through this one, I was like, oh, and then I read it again so that it was more music-y, poetry.
Yeah, so I mean, war form, it lets you kill things. There we go.
More or less.
That's pretty much that. We're back with Shallan. She's hanging out with slave master Tavlakov. Slave trader, I guess.
Right.
And I mean, hey, she's headed to the Shattered Plains, kind of manipulating these guys to take her there, but maybe they're manipulating her. Who knows? She's not really sure about it one way or the other.
Right. How do you pronounce Tavlakov's lackey guy?
I seriously don't even know who that is.
Bluth. I don't know.
Bluth. I think it's Bluth.
Okay, that's how I was saying it. Yeah, he's talking to Shallan. They're not really getting along because Shallan's crazy high woman. He's just a hired muscle guy.
Yeah, Shallan's just telling funny jokes and stuff, and I'm writing the note here geez, Shallan seems to be pretty cool with Yesna being dead.
Yeah,
she seems
A-okay.
She seems pretty chipper, not gonna lie. I don't know, maybe a tiny bit of solemnity would be respectful. I don't know.
Right.
Also, Pattern has a line here where he says his name is numbers, many numbers, hard to say.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fine.
Pattern is pie, I guess.
Pattern is pie. And then shortly after I wrote that first note about Shallan being a little bit too happy about Yesna's death,
she
has a part where she's like, "I'm actually crushed by Yesna's death. I'm just bottling it up so I can cope with each day." And I'm like, geez, well now I feel like a dick. Because
here's that solemnity. It turns out she'd been storing it up, and now it's coming out in a waterfall.
Yeah,
we also learned lost her sketch pad.
She lost her sketch pad, and the broken soulcaster was also lost in the ocean.
Yep.
Which is a bummer because Yesna had set her up, right, to two-part plan to save her family, right? get the Soulcaster repaired by Aunt Navani and get her married to Adolin, right?
Yep.
And now, that, if she had had the Soulcaster, Navani probably still would have gone through with it just by Yesna's death, I imagine.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So she sets up in one of these slave wagons, starts doing some research, looking through Yesna's stuff, and she finds out that Pattern knows that the threat of the Voidbringers returning is a thing, and that's why he came, and that's why he's pairing with Shallan.
Yep. He says the spren of him, I'll do it in his voice.
Yeah.
Spren of him, they come.
Yep. Odium spren are on their way.
Odium spren coming in hot.
Maybe
the storm spren is an Odium spren.
Seems like it.
Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum.
Ba-da-boom, ba-da-boom. That was in our last episode too.
Yeah. Yep.
That's all I got on that.
I have one more little line. She's talking about how, why would people want Yesna dead if Yesna's trying to save the world,
Mm-hmm.
And she says, they probably wanted the knowledge of the apocalypse to themselves so that they could profit from it.
Yeah.
Profit from the apocalypse itself. To which I just say, it's a little bit topical right now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because, all right, let's not make things political, but
mm-hmm.
Some of the richest people in America have profited like $23 billion or something since the start of all this COVID nonsense. So, I don't know. Profiting from the apocalypse just feels, it hit a little close to home for me there.
Right. Too soon, Brando Sando.
Too soon. Time. Okay. Mate form meek for love to share. Given to life, it brings us joy. To being this form, one must care. To empathy, one must employ. I thought the mate form one was kind of fun, so I thought maybe I'd do it a little children's kind of clapping rhyme
about the literal
about the sexy kinky form.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I can't wait for these to get made into movies so I can ogle all these mate form Parshendi.
I cannot wait to write some fanfic about some mate form Parshendi.
Oh my god, I'm gonna write a Harry Potter mate form Parshendi fanfic right when we're done. Yeah.
So Adolin, he's about to duel a guy.
He just can't read, can he?
Nope.
I mean, she has a glyph for him. Navani does, right? And he's like,
a little
that says victory, don't it? And she's like,
no,
it says safety. It says safety and honor.
Yeah,
why are you so dumb? The thing is, the glyphs, these are not hard to read. These are pictograms. You know?
More or less. Yeah.
Chances are that the one that means victory is probably a person posing with their arms up in a V.
Right? Yeah. It should be.
It's like you're looking at a little picture of a fire and you're like, that means fortitude, don't it? She's like, no, it means fire. You dullard. You fool.
You oaf.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Aelin's just stupid as heck. It's kind of fun though. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, he's about to go duel for some shards. He's thinking about Shallan, his wife, and he's like, somebody else choosing for me might not be such a bad thing.
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious. Well, yeah, he also thinks it might be nice to have someone choose his spouse for him. And I was like, holy moly, what an alignment of the stars here that you have these two, young folks who are both like, arranged marriages are dope.
Yeah,
what are the
chances?
Wait for
this. Yeah, that worked out great.
That's really lucky. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah. So
the boat with Shallan and Yesna on it was supposed to have arrived in port a week ago, and it never did.
All right.
I wonder what happened to that. I hope they're okay.
Yeah, I'm sure they're fine. So he's gonna duel this guy for his shard blade. He had to bet both his blade and his plate because he's not favored for some reason in this duel.
Well, the deal is that they didn't accept his initial duel request, right?
Oh, I see. Okay.
To kind of be like,
Sweeten
to kind of just say I wouldn't duel you just for an even trade. You're not worth it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he had to sweeten the pot and now it's kind of demeaning that he had to do that for him, right? Mm-hmm. It's just politics.
Right. So he's talking to Renarin right before the fight, and he's saying that he doesn't like Kaladin.
But he did eat chicken. Yeah.
Right. And it is chicken.
And he says in this one that something just seems off to him about Kaladin, and he brings it up again in a later chapter we'll get to.
Right. When he's talking to Kaladin, yeah.
And it kind of makes sense a little bit, right?
Yeah, right. There is something about him. Because
somebody said something along the lines of, it was Renarin, right? Who said well, you probably just don't like him because he ordered you around on the battlefield, right? Mm-hmm. And Adolin's like, no, there's more to it than that. And at first I was like, no, there isn't. But now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, well, I mean, Kaladin has a very thinly veiled just hate for all Light Eyes, right? Yeah. That probably does sort of come through.
Oh, surely, yeah.
Every day, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Adolin is probably just getting watched by this Dark Eyes like a hawk, and just being like, geez, I kind of feel like he hates me. And not just me, but like the king,
everybody I
my
associate
family,
with. Yeah.
Everyone but my dad, I guess. Like, it's kind of weird, right?
That would be a little concerning.
So, yeah, that would be a little bit, funky.
So, yeah,
right.
So that's the thing that's happening. And he goes in to duel this guy, and he destroys him.
Oh my god, what a slaughter.
Not close.
Dude, all right, we've been through a book and now a full like 20% of another book, or however much, I don't know. Yep. And up to this point, up to the beginning of this fight, I have not once liked Adolin.
Yeah.
All right, I felt anywhere from like meh to like
disdain,
fully neutral. Meh for me, I guess that's pretty neutral. That's a neutral word. Right. I felt anywhere from bad to neutral about him at any given time. He's wavered between a 3 and a 5.
Sure,
and that's it, right?
Yeah.
And now I like Adolin. This fight, holy moly, wow.
Yeah. So he starts in this. He starts in this one stance, and the guy's like coming, and he's like, no, I'm gonna try this, and he goes into iron stance, and the guy like swings at him, and he just like bats it away and just like bashes this guy in the head a couple times.
Yeah, he's just like wielding. It says he's chopping at him like he's just like with an axe, just trying to split wood, right?
Yeah,
he's just holding this in two hands, just like bang, bang. You know, like no grace, no style, just like just brute decimating force. This guy.
Yeah,
and he says like, you know, the guy was probably expecting like, where's the trading of blows? Where's the testing each other? Right? Where's the dance? And he was like, no, screw all that. And the fact that the guy expected it means that even though he was just bludgeoning him with this incredibly untactful fighting style, right?
Mm-hmm.
It just,
the guy was kind of taking
freaking worked, didn't it? Yeah.
And so he like swings it up again and he parries it, knocks the thing out of his hand. Spartan kicks him in the chest and he falls on the ground. He like drops his blade, he's done with it or whatever, just kicks his helm so he breaks that. And the guy's like, you have to break 3 pieces of shard plate to win. And he's like, all right. He picks one up and crushes it in his hands.
Well, the thing is, it seemed like Kaladin was, Adolin was going to be content to just kick this guy like to dust, right?
Yeah.
If the mediator, what do you call it? The official or whatever hadn't stopped him.
Ref.
Yeah, so that was, oh wow, that was
He's
so
like, whoa, whoa, don't kill him. And Adolin's like, oh, geez, yeah, was I going to kill him? Oh, man. I don't know what came over.
No, I don't think Adolin was going to kill him.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah, the ref was just like, this isn't how it's supposed to work. What are you doing? And he's like, did I break any rules?
Yeah.
And she's like, well, not in so many words.
Right, and the other guy's like, you only won because you cheated. And he was like, how did I cheat? He's like, I don't know, but I didn't like it.
Yeah. So I mean, he just wrecked this guy, and nobody was happy about it except for me.
Yeah.
And it was really cool. And then Navani comes in afterwards. Yeah, he wins the blade. He gives it to Renarin. Navani comes in and says, like, this was clever. You've concealed your true skill, right? People might think this was just a lucky win, and they might be more likely to challenge you. And he says, Adolin nodded, pretending that was why he'd done it.
Right, he was like, that was the plan. Yeah.
Wow, what a guy. Yeah, Adolin just jumped up probably to a solid, at least a 6 or 7 for me, you know? Although it's going to take time to win me over completely, given what a loser he's been.
Yeah, you know, we'll get there eventually.
Work form, worn for strength and care, whispering, sprint, breathe at your ear. Seek first this form, its mysteries to bear. Found here is a freedom from fear.
I didn't realize this stanza had a kick line.
Yeah.
Everybody with canes and their top hats, you know.
Yeah. This is a fun one. Work form just gives off that vibe, you know? Okay. So, I mean, honestly, I don't know why I'm reading these. The work form one does work, and the mate form one mates, and the war form one does war.
Right.
What do you think the nimble form one does? It's probably nimble.
Yeah. Real dexterous, yeah.
Although there is actually one line in the nimble form one that's kind of whack.
Okay, what's that?
Though once defied by the gods, they were crushed.
Oh, wow.
The nimble forms were all crushed?
I guess, yeah.
I guess?
Yikes.
Alright. Okay, either way. We're back to Shallan. Shallan sends Pattern over to listen in on a conversation. She's, commandeered one of the slave wagons, which was empty, and now that's recorders, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
She's listening to a conversation between Bluth and Tvalakov.
Which Pattern can go, sneak over there, listen, and then repeat it in perfect voice of the people.
Yeah, it's just like Pattern has snuck over there like a freaking microphone.
Yeah.
And she's just wearing the little, earbud.
Yeah.
So this is, wow, potentially
super
very useful. That's pretty cool.
So she learns that Tvalakov is talking about selling her back to whoever is waiting for her,
Yeah, charging a ransom for her, more or less.
And she goes over there, she's like, listen here, you little
Yeah, John, I'm going to have to bleep that out now.
Oh,
Gosh,
so
darn it. No, I'm kidding. I'm actually not going to bleep it out. We're just going to have to live with that.
Okay.
Alright, so, yeah, she goes over there. She says, listen here, you little And, see, it's fine when I do it.
Yeah.
And, yeah, she just, freaking shows him what's
lays
what.
down the law,
Yeah, and suddenly Tvalakov, for, the first time, I think might actually fear her some way.
Yeah,
Shallan's
she's like, messing with me is
control.
like messing with a high storm. And she's, standing over him, and he's like, okay, I get it.
Yeah, she's actually using some of her illusion magic
to make
herself appear even more imposing and, I don't know, powerful or whatever.
Yep.
So that was pretty lit. And also, as she walked back after doing all that, she was like, oh, it feels like my feet healed a little bit. I guess that knobweed sap is working. And I was like, that's the Stormlight, you idiot.
Right.
I can't believe Yesna didn't explain this to you, first thing.
Right, that seems pretty primo.
Oh, by the way, whenever you absorb Stormlight, you, get a little bit of superpowers. I don't know.
Right, yeah.
This, I feel like this is just base level information.
Honestly, we need to just release a pamphlet to everybody in Roshar. If you're experiencing Stormlight magic, it does heal you, give you superpowers a little bit. Okay, carry on.
Yep.
Click.
That's just PSA stuff right there.
Just says it on a little leaflet. We'll put out leaflets.
BBC better distribute that info. Stat. All right. And you got anything else on that chapter? Because I don't really.
At the end, there's a bunch of bandit deserters nearby, and they basically got nothing to lose, and they're freaking out, and they're like, we got to get out of here stat.
I mean, they just avoid them, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe they'll come up later.
Yeah.
Nimble form has a delicate touch. Gave the gods this form to many. Though once defied by the gods, they were crushed. This form craves precision and plenty.
Great.
Yep.
So we're back.
This is probably our most fun episode yet. What do you think, John?
Yeah,
all the singing.
I am bubbling with excitement.
I bet that anyone who's listened to every episode up to this point was just about thinking to themselves, I wish there was more singing. And then they get to this episode.
They see the episode. They're like, a new Sam and John's book club. Can they make it any better? And then as they're listening, they're like, oh my goodness.
Holy moly.
They found the one avenue to improve their podcast.
Is that the voice of an angle?
An angle caressing my sweet little eardrum?
All right. Okay.
Back to Kaladin.
So, Kaladin is chatting with, I don't know, bridge people probably.
Yep.
And he says, he's thinking to himself about how another number got written on Dalinar's wall during another high storm, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And now that counter has gone way down from, it was 62 days last time, now it's just over a month.
Yeah, it's 30 right? Yeah.
So holy moly, we've skipped ahead a bit, timeline wise. Kaladin says something along the lines of is Dalinar doing himself? Is a Spren sneaking in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now that the book is just presenting us those ideas, now I don't think they're true anymore. Now I think it's some third thing.
Oh really? You're
because the fact that
you
Kaladin,
think they're throwing you off the scent.
The fact that Kaladin is just musing, was it one of these two things? I'm well now there's no way it was one of those two things.
Oh really? I was still I'm still on board for it.
It seems like it's supposed to be a mystery, right?
Yeah.
What is doing it?
Maybe it just seems so thinly veiled. I don't know.
You don't just tell us it's You don't just tell us, John.
Yeah, maybe they just tell us. My theory is that it's still Dalinar in his sleep, but...
Okay, my theory is that it's neither Dalinar or the Spren. And if you're right, I will eat an egg. What will you eat?
If you're right, I'll eat 2 black olives.
Okay, it's a deal.
I feel like you eating an egg was a much better end of this deal.
Yeah, I'm gonna cook it, and it'll be just like an egg.
Right.
I eat like several eggs a day.
Anyway,
so yeah.
You'll be having dinner. You'll be like, oh, I guess I did that by accident.
There was also a line Kaladin had. He was like talking to Syl.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, "You don't seriously think that Dalinar is a big loser boy, do you?"
Mm-hmm.
And Kaladin was like, "Oh no, it's just that he's friends with the most vile piece of trash I've ever laid eyes on. You know, big whoop. Haha, I don't care." And it was just kind of snarky.
Right.
Like,
and so was like, "Never lie to me. You think he's still honorable?" And he's like, "Yeah, I guess."
Yeah, I guess he's still honorable.
And Amaram's been around for a little while, and he's like, as soon as I get the chance, I'm going to kill him with a knife, and I'm going to be up in his face. I want to see him die. I was like, whoa,
Okay, so when Amaram showed up, that was like at the 62-day mark, right? That was like a month ago now, wasn't it?
Yeah, he mentions a specific amount of time, but I don't remember what it was.
Or was it like a week ago? I don't remember.
It was like a week ago that Amaram got there, I'm pretty sure.
The thing is, remember how at the end of last episode, John, which I realized was like a week and a half ago now, we were like, what do you think is going to happen? I gave you a couple of options. Is there going to be like an awkward confrontation or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to see the look in Amaram's eyes, like he looks surprised but nobody else notices, or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Turns out none of those things.
Yep.
Kaladin laid eyes on Amaram, and I guess nothing happened between them at all for like anywhere from a week to a month. I don't really know exactly how long. We'll compromise on like 2 weeks.
Sure.
Amaram must surely be aware of Kaladin. He's the freaking guard for the king and Dalinar and the whole shebang, right?
Surely he's seen him, yeah.
But I guess them becoming aware of each other just like didn't really matter.
Fine, yeah.
Okay, I feel like that should have. I feel like that should have got a paragraph at least somewhere.
I was like, give me fireworks, Sando.
Give me the interaction between the boys. Give me the interaction between them.
Give me a piece of interactive dialogue.
But we did not get such a thing. I'm sure, they're gonna... They're gonna... Okay, I'll censor the episode now.
All right.
They're gonna talk... You're gonna confront each other eventually, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
But, I guess not yet. Okay. Kaladin is now 20. Mm-hmm. It's been a bit.
He missed his birthday when he was a bridgeman. Oops.
Adolin is in his early 20s, and I believe Renarin is the younger brother.
Yep, he is.
So Renarin is probably about Kaladin's age as well, I would guess.
Mm-hmm.
Syl does not like Adolin or Renarin
because
they're shard bearers.
Yep.
She doesn't like anyone who carries shards. Mm-hmm. Kaladin's like, well, did that apply to the Knights Radiant as well? And she was like, oh no, they were fine.
Yeah, they were great.
And he's like, what the? That's incongruous.
Right, and she said it like, it was obvious.
Yeah, she says shard blades weren't abominations back then.
Yeah.
Okay. He says, did the shards change? And she says, no, the knights changed.
Right.
So is the problem that it's not the right people holding the shards? And she says, well, now there are no right people. She's just talking in riddles, John, is what she's doing.
Well, it's kind of like our theory of the Day of Recreance might have been breaking the bonds with the Spren and killing all of them or whatever, Yeah. It kind of supports that a little bit.
What does that have to do with the shard blades, though?
Well, that's kind of the same thing, right?
Just like because just the event all happened?
Yeah.
It's all tied to the event? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, there's a cat in my lap that's trying to attack my arms.
No problem. I see you looking down, and I assume it's a cat or a big python is slowly wrapping up your body, and it's crushing you, but you're just very professional.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so Syl does seem to know where the shard blades originally came from, but she just won't tell Kaladin.
Yeah, she's like, nope.
That's kind of lame.
Yeah, whatever. Lame. Syl, you could be more helpful. Oh my goodness, cat, please.
While all of this, like literally everything I talked about since I sang that Nimbleform song, it's all been happening when Kaladin and his boys are on the training ground watching Adolin and Renarin train.
Yep.
Adolin brought Renarin there to try to find him a sword master so Renarin can actually learn how to fight stuff, which would be pretty dope. And the specific blade master he has in mind is a man named Zyle.
Oh, okay. Is that how Zahel is how I said it.
Oh, Zahel. How's it pronounced?
Well, it's spelled Z-E-H-E-L.
Z-A-H-E-L. All right, yeah.
Z-E-H-E-L.
Oh, Zahel. Zahel.
Sure.
Zale. I think I'd say it's Zale.
Okay. Yeah, it was definitely Zahel in my mind, but I don't know why. Anyway.
He has a scar on his cheek.
Yep.
But they don't say it's crescent shaped, so I guess it's okay.
I guess it's fine.
I guess it's fine. I'm just saying, if we find out that it is crescent shaped later, I'm gonna be a little miffed that wasn't
right. That was a purposeful
stated.
burying the lead by Brandon Sanderson. If that's what happens.
Yeah. According to my notes here, Zyle is an ex-shoulder gone ardent.
An ex-soldier.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think autocorrect might have got me on that one.
Yeah. I think so.
So it's Adolin's plan to get Zyle to be, or Zahel, or
whatever it is,
Zahel to be Renarin's sword play mentor.
Yep. And Kaladin meets him because he thinks he looks kind of suspicious as he's watching Adolin and Renarin, so he talks to him for a hot minute.
I mean, he turned around pretty quick on that, though. Kaladin was like, is this guy going to murder my boys? Right. And then a second later, he was like, I guess I'm okay with this guy fighting my boys with a sword.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. And then later, Adolin comes over and he has a little confrontation. He's like, hey, Kaladin, I don't like you. And Kaladin's like, whatever, man.
Yeah, I really don't give a shit.
Yeah. And that's pretty much it. Oh, and there's more of Syl being like, here are questions that all the readers want to know, but I can't answer, and I can't tell you why I can't answer.
Syl has the line, I am a god, says Syl. And Kaladin's like, no, you're not. And she says, yes, I am. A little piece of one. Yeah. A little tiny piece of a god.
Mm-hmm.
Is there something to that? Do you think the spread are actually pieces of a god? Like, were there spread around before Honor died? Do we have proof of that? Yes, I think we do.
Yeah.
I think we saw Spren back in Dalinar's visions, right?
I don't remember.
Did we? Oh my god. Did we ever see Spren in Dalinar's visions?
I don't think so. But I don't know.
We must have.
It was like...
I feel like we would have noticed if we hadn't, right?
Ooh. I don't know. I don't think we did. But I don't know if it was like a, very significant omission,
But
like
I mean,
maybe it was...
Spren come up so often, I feel like...
Yeah. I don't remember.
If we go back to the very first one...
There was only the one where they're in the thing that's like the Pure Lake hunting after that one.
That one we saw Evil Spren.
Right.
That for sure happened.
But that was the only time, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it.
Well, but Honor must have still been alive when that happened and we saw those Spren.
Mm-hmm.
Because...
When you say Honor, do you mean cultivation?
What?
Or no, the Almighty guy.
Wasn't... I mean the Almighty.
Okay.
Oh, it's completely unrelated.
Yeah.
Never mind. I thought maybe we were cracking open a big thing there.
Oh, okay, yeah. It was just a big old can of beans, turns out.
We should go back, though, and see if... Well, I guess we don't even exactly know the order of his visions, like the timeline on them.
Yeah.
So it'd be hard to say, like, is there a point where, like, before this there were no Spren or something,
Yeah, I think might be too hard to glean from that.
That would be difficult. Oh, well. It's probably nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Hey, that's the end of that reading, isn't it?
That's pretty much it.
Dang, not too much happened this time. We kind of
got
a little bit of
this is a little... I mean, all the stuff with Ashone, whatever her name was.
Eshonai. Yeah, we got a bit of an Eshonai lore dump.
That was, like, the most exciting thing that happened, really.
Yeah, that was good. I really enjoyed Adolin's duel. That was lit.
Yeah, that was fun. That was good.
And Shallan is doing fine. It seems like she's probably getting pretty close to the Shattered Plains now. So that'll be fun when she shows up. Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, I mean, diggity dang. John, guess what?
What?
I have more chapters for you to read.
No way.
I know you were thinking that we were just about done.
Uh-huh.
But actually, there's still a bit more left.
Okay. How much left? What do I need to read before next week?
I need you to read chapters 17 through 24.
24.
Of Words of Radiance, the second book in the Stormlight Archive.
Okay. Yeah, I can do that.
That's gonna be a hot 26,000 words.
Oh, a baby.
Which makes it like a whole 4,500 words less than we just did. So
a little child.
Pretty light week. This is, I think, one of the lightest weeks in this book, actually.
Yeah. Seems like it.
I
don't get out of bed for less than 30K.
Holy moly! Oh wait, I just thought to check out. Do the part titles throughout this book also do
the same thing?
One of those Vorin poem thingies.
Yeah.
And they do.
I imagined so.
But this one is less like whack.
Okay, what is it?
A light, like one word, a light,
yeah.
Right? Winds approach. Deadly. The approach. Winds a light. That middle part sounds kind of sketch, huh? Deadly. Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's
right.
Everything was fine until that word.
Okay. Hey, chapter 17 through 24. Sorry this episode's up a little bit late, by the way. I was building the fence. John was out of town.
Memorial Day.
Big ol' thing. But hey, next week we'll be back on schedule.
Yep.
Holy moly, guess what I just found out looking at this?
What?
Adolin has a fair amount of this book is from his perspective.
Oh, really?
It ends up being like 7% of the book.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's more than I would expect.
Yeah, my guess would be like almost 0.
Still, Kaladin and Shallan each get a full like 31% of themselves.
Sure, yeah.
What percentage is from Risen, do you think?
Like less than 1.
It's almost a full 2%. What the heck?
Oh, wow.
Oh my god. And actually, now that I look at it, John, that was all in that one interlude.
Oh, really?
Risen's one. Well, that was over 7,000 words. Risen's interlude was long for how little we had to say about it. Yeah.
I was reading that one in bed last night, and I was like, "Oh boy, I did not expect this to be so detailed."
Yeah. Well, most of these I want to be like sitting at my computer and just like focus purely on listening to it, so I can like take notes. But for that one, I kind of remembered that it was like pretty long, and I kind of remembered what happened in it, so I was like, whatever, I'll just bake for this one.
Sure.
Just cutting apples up the whole time and stuff.
Ugh. Man, the podcast, we've hit our peak. Sam's going downhill.
What do you mean?
2 sections from now, I'm going to be doing this by myself. Sam will be out.
No, I'll be a professional baker.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Ugh, it's going to hurt.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
All right.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to my beautiful songs.
Filthy listeners.
I hate you guys.
Take a shower. Yuck.
Yucky. All right.
Bye.
This sucks. Bye.